President, please be seated. The chamber is now back in session, and we give the floor to the co-prosecutions to resume questioning to the civil party. You may now proceed. Question. Before the break, you told the chamber that you witnessed the incident taking place at Tuol Slane or Slane Hill. So where was that place? Answer. Tuol Slane was in Thma Commune, Bakan District, Pusat Province. Question. Based on what you witnessed, the incident took place in the building, in a house, or in the open field? Answer. It took place in the forest. Question. So when did it happen, whether it happened at night time or daytime? Answer. It took place at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Question. How far was it from the place you stood and the place where the incident was unfolding? Answer. It was about 50 meters away. Question. So the distance was around 50 meters. So could you see everything clearly? Answer. I did not see it clearly. When the execution was taking place, I just saw it for a little while and then I left. Question. Could you please elaborate about the event of what you witnessed, although the time that you witnessed was really short? So what did you really see? Answer. At that time, I did not see things clearly because it was forested area. I saw the militiamen were executing the people. Question. I would like to know how the execution was taking place. Answer. I saw they use a stick to kill the people. But I had no idea whether the club was a bamboo club or was something else. Question. So what about the executioners? Who were they? Answer. No, I did not know who they were, which group they came from. I only knew that they were the Khmer militiamen. Question. How many of them were involved in the killing at that time? From the distance, I could not tell you how many militiamen were there at that time. Question. So besides the activity taking place, did you hear any sounds or voice coming from the place? Answer. I did not spend long time witnessing the event. I did not hear the voice because I was there for so short time and I left. Question. So how many victims were there at that time? Answer. I did not know how many victims were there because I did not dare to get close to the site. Question. You did not know the specific numbers, but could you estimate, let's say, the groups consisted of 3 or 4 people based on your witnessing? Answer. When I witnessed the event, there were more than 5 people. Question. You said that those victims were a group of Muslims. How did you know that they were Muslim? Answer. I identified them through their clothes. Question. Could you please be more specific about this point? I asked you about what you witnessed. So you saw their clothes or you saw something else? Answer. I did not witness when they were dressing or the clothes that they were wearing. I only saw their bags of clothes. That's why I came to the conclusion that they were Muslim. Question. As for another event that you witnessed the dead bodies, and you said earlier that they were brought from kilometer number 6. So how many dead body did you see? Answer. There were around 4 or 5 dead bodies, and I was not clear about how many more dead bodies were there. I heard that those people who were killed were brought from the neighboring house of my house. Question. Could you please elaborate the events around your witnessing the dead body? Were those dead body left unburied or what? That you could come to your conclusion that they were Muslim. Answer. During the regime, when the regime alleged people of betrayal, they killed the people and they did not bury the dead body. They just simply left it unburied. Question. So where did you witness the dead bodies? Answer. I saw the dead bodies near Tuol Sleng, where the executing of people took place. Question: what about the specific location? Whether was it in a building, in a forest, or in a paddy fields? Answer: Tuol Sleng had a paddy field nearby. The families of those who were executed, they were killed in the paddy field. Question: now I move to another topic related to what you witnessed. During democratic Cambodia regime, what did you know about something that happened to Islam religious leaders or those who were Islamic scholars? Answer: religious scholars of Islam were taken away and killed during the Khmer Rouge regime, but I did not know where they were killed or where they were detained. But what I knew is that anyone who knew a lot about religious matters in Islam, they were killed. That was what I knew. Question: could you give examples of any individuals who were religious scholars or religious teacher of Islam who were taken away and killed during that regime? Answer: now let me backtrack. I talked about a family earlier, a family whose house was nearby my house, were taken away and killed, and that family knew a lot about Islam religion and culture, and that's the reason they were taken away and killed. President, please turn on the microphone. In the same document E319/13.2.4, the investigator asks you the question whether there was imam during the Khmer Rouge regime, and you answered that imam and tuan were taken away and killed. Imam means religious scholars and tuan means religious teacher. So the question was at that time, did you witness the killing of imam and tuan? Defense counsel interrupted. In the document, it's written imam. Co-prosecutor: I'm sorry, I did not know how it's pronounced exactly. You could correct me later, but based on my reading, it's called imam. Your answer was that you did not witness the event with your eyes, but you said that your relatives were all killed during the regime. The question was, where was your relative killed Answer. They were killed at Damraiso. Question. Where was Damraiso? Answer. Damraiso was in Cam Ranh. So my question is that you mentioned that your relatives who were knowledgeable in Islam were all killed. Were they Imam or Tuan? Answer. In Islam, Imam was the responsible for leading the prayer in the mosque. As for Tuan, they were religious teachers and they were evacuated and all of them were killed. I did not witness the event myself, but I heard from other people. Question. You told the chamber that you lost your relatives and there were 17 of them. So the Imam and Tuan whom you just mentioned earlier, were they part of the 17 people who were killed? Answer. I lost 17 members of my relatives and some of them were Imam and Tuans. Question. Now let me move to another topic about the Lunol soldiers. Did you know anything about what happened to the Lunol soldiers during Democratic Cambodia regime? Answer. At that time, I was too young to know about what happened to the Lunol soldiers, and I did not pay much attention to that matter either. Question. Did you encounter any incident involving the Lunol soldiers? Did you have any relationship with the Lunol soldiers? Answer. No, I did not know. Question. In the same document, E319/3 at question number 40, the question to you was, as for the Lunol soldiers or Lunol officials, did anything happen to them when the Khmer Rouge came to power? Your answer was, you witnessed around 30 to 40 dead bodies. You gave such an answer to the interviewer. Was it based on what you really saw or what? Answer. Yes, I witnessed their uniforms, their military uniforms, and they were killed. But I did not know or see the weapons that were used to kill them. I was at Tramtases cooperative and I saw the dead bodies. So you Question. So you saw the dead body at Tul Kotakorn. So where that location was? What I mean the village and the commune where the location was in. Answer. It was in Tramses Cooperative, Tramsna and Bakan District Posat Province. And there was a hill called President. The party was allocated 25 minutes to put question to the civil party co-prosecution. So how many time left for my party? President, you have used all the time allocated to your team. So now we give the floor to other parties. Now the chamber gives the floor to the defense counsel. And first we give the floor to the defense counsel for Mr. Nguyen Chia to put questions to the civil party if you have any. Defense counsel. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you parties in the chamber. And good morning, Mr. Civil Party. My name is Liu Suvanna, and I represent Mr. Nguyen Chia in this courtroom. I have a number of questions to put to you. You said a while ago that you were separated from your parents and you were sent to the children unit. My question is whether the Khmer children at that time were also separated from their parents just like you. Answer. Khmer children were also separated from their children, but we were different. The Khmer children, they were in the children unit with also Khmer children, but for me, I was alone. Question, could you be please more specific on this when you say that you were alone? Answer. My children were separated from their parents and they put in the children unit where they could spend time with other Khmer children. But for me as a Cham child, I spent time in the children unit, but there was only me who was a Cham child. Question. So you said that you were the only Cham child in the children unit. Does that mean that there was only one Cham family, or there were also other Cham families? Answer. During Khmer Rouge regime, regardless of adults, children, or old people, they were separated from each other. Question. You said that Khmer children were also placed in the Khmer children unit, and you as a Cham child were also placed in the Khmer children unit. My question was that you were sent to be in the Khmer children unit because there were other Cham children. Answer. There were many Cham children at that time, but Angka did not allow Cham children to stay in the same unit. although we had many jam children, we were separated. We were not allowed to be in the same unit. Question: how many children units were there in your cooperative? Answer: I did not know about the Khmer Rouge structure at that time. But I knew that in Tramses cooperative, in my unit, there was only me who was a jam child. Question: so in Tramses cooperatives, there were only one jam child in the children unit, and that was you. Is that correct? Answer: yes. There was only me who was a jam child. As for the other children in the unit, they were Khmer children. Question: so I could draw the conclusion that there was only one jam child, and that was you in the children unit, was because in the whole village there was only one jam child. Is that correct? Answer: I could not accept this conclusion. There were many jam children, but they could not assemble and stay together. They were placed in various units, and they were not allowed to stay together. Question: I did not ask about other cooperatives and units. I only refer my question to the Tramses cooperative, and you said that in that cooperative there was only one jam child in the children unit, and that was you. I did not ask about any other cooperatives. You said that jam children were not allowed to stay together, and you said that in your unit there was only you alone.
Is it because you were the only jam child in your cooperative of Tramse? Answer: in my children unit, I was the only jam child, although I did not know how many jam people were living in the area. Questioned: after 17 April 1975, how old were you? Answer: I was born in 1961, so I was around 13 to 14 years old. Questioned: before 1975, did you attend any school, and if so, at which grade? Answer: I studied at Year 1 if you think of the current educational system. Question: can you tell the chamber how come you were 14 years old and you were in grade 1? Answer: the reason I was in grade 1 because of the lack of a school at the time, and I had to tend our family's cattle. Question. A while ago you said that you lacked education because the Democratic Cambodia regime didn't allow you to study, and now you just stated that the previous regime you did not have an opportunity to attend schooling as well. Can you clarify whether your lack of education was partly the result of your lack of schooling prior to 1975? Answer. I did not study between 1970 to 75 due to the eruption of war. Question. You have also testified that your family was evacuated on 17 April 1975. Besides your family, were there any other Khmer families from your village who were evacuated? Answer. Not only my family was evacuated, but the neighboring Khmer families were there, and for us, we were regarded as the 17 April people. Question. Does it mean that the evacuation from your village included both the Cham and the Khmer people? Answer. The evacuation and other people included both the Cham and the Khmer people. However, the Khmer-based people were evacuated and they were tasked to take charge of the so-called 17 April people, including myself. And generally, the 17 April people were evacuated to go and engage in hard labor. As some of the Khmer-based people were evacuated to take charge of the 17 April people in their village or sector level capacity. Question. A while ago you testified that Angkar forced your father to eat pork, however he refused. And you also said Angkar only had pork to eat, and if he didn't eat, then there was nothing else that Angkar had for your father to eat. So your father was not taken away and killed, although he refused to eat pork? Answer. Angkar did not take him away and killed at the time, but Angkar mistreated him and put him in a miserable situation, and he became emaciated. He refused to eat the pork, and Angkar tortured him in that way until the day he died. It was the same killing, although this form of killing took longer than the immediate end to his life. Question. You also stated that you saw dead bodies of a Muslim family who was your neighbor, and that you witnessed it at the area called Tul Slang. And you also said other children also told you that they were the bodies of a Cham family who live in your neighboring surrounding. Did you know that they were charmed because you were told by other children? Answer. I knew not because I was told by other children. However, I witnessed the dead bodies myself after they had been executed. And then a child running to me and told me that the Cham family had just been executed. Question. Can you tell the chamber the condition of the dead bodies? Were they decomposed? Answer. Actually, the body passed the stage of decomposition. They were shriveled, and I noticed their identities when I saw bags of clothing scattered in the area, including sarong. Usually, a Cham or Muslim religious people would go with a bag of their traditional attire. Question. Are you referring to the attire that were on their dead bodies, or are you referring to a separate attire? Answer. I refer first to the attires on their dead bodies, as well as, secondly, a bag of clothes and their caps, and their long shirts and sarongs. And I also saw headscarves for Cham women. Question. Can you try to recall in what year or month you witnessed that incident? Answer. I cannot recall that clearly. Question. Did you witness it after the 17 April 1975, or rather, how many months after the 17 April 1975 did you witness that incident? Answer. I cannot recall the particular day or month. I saw their dead bodies in 1975. Question. In the area that you lived, were Cham people allowed to wear their traditional attire, and that's why you saw those dead bodies in their traditional clothing? Answer. They were not traditional attire. However, I saw the traditional attire in the bags scattered in that area. Question. Just a while ago, you testified that on the dead bodies you saw the traditional sarong, headscarves, and cap. That's why I asked you whether those dead bodies were in traditional attire or not. And now you just said that you saw those traditional attire in the bags of clothing scattered nearby. Which version is correct? Answer. I forget to clarify one thing. After they died, I saw the clothing they wore, but they were not wearing traditional attire. The traditional attires were with the bags scattered around. Question. So your previous response that the dead bodies were with a cap and traditional clothing is not correct? Is that your statement? Answer. What I can say is this. Maybe I spoke rather too fast. They actually wore normal clothing when they were killed. As for the cap, the long shirts and sarongs or headscarves, they were the belonging that they were taken along with, and after they were killed, their clothing were scattered in the area. Question. Also, a while ago, you stated that you saw a group of Muslims who were killed at the vicinity of Tul Slain or Slain Hill. Did you recognize that they were Muslim? Is it because of the traditional clothing nearby? Is that your previous statement? And you also claimed that Tul Slain was an execution site. Please tell the chamber whether those people who were killed were all Cham, or were they all Khmer, or was it a mixture of Khmer and Cham people? And about the clothing, did you see the clothing after they were taken or stripped off the dead bodies? Or were they part of the clothing in the bags? Answer. I knew that they were a group of Cham people who were killed at Tul Slain. I did not stand there and witness the entire execution, and I knew that they were Cham from my observation of the scattered objects and clothing. Question. How could you come to a conclusion that the scattered things and clothing belong to the group of people who were killed? Because you said that it was an execution site. It means people had been killed there previously. Question. I conclude that they were the group because they were not the last group who were killed at Tul Slain. They were killed in 1975, so they were the first group who was killed. And that's why I drew my conclusion that the scattered things and clothing belonged to them. Question. How long were you detained at the Tribunal? Answer. I was detained at Tribunal in late 1977 or early 1978. Question. Were you detained from late 1977 through early 1978? Is that your statement? Answer. Yes. Question. What was the reason for your detention? Answer. The militia accused me of committing something against Angka. That is that I stole rice grains from Angka, and that is the reason for my arrest and subsequent detention. Question. Were you released in early 1978? And if so, were you given any reason for your release? Answer. No one released me. Allow me to explain that in 1979, when the country failed, villagers came to handcuff me. Question. Just a while ago, you stated that you were detained in Tribunal Center from late 1977 to early 1978. However, you changed. Now you said that you were released only after 7 January 1979. Which version is correct? Answer. What I want to say is that I was accused in late 1977 and I was put in prison in 1978 and I remained in prison until early 1977. 79 rather. I'd like now to refer to your VIF, that is document D22/1078, and at page 5, and the document only exists in the Khmer language. You stated that in October, that is, the rye was about to get ripe in Trang Commune, Metak District, Bakan District, Pusat Province. The Khmer Rouge arrested people and Un arrested me as I was accused of failing to inform Onka about that, and both sent me to be detained at Tribunal Center. Based on your VIF, you said that you were arrested in October 1978, and the reason was not that you actually stole the rice grains, but you failed to report those people who stole the rice grain. Please tell the chamber which version is correct. Answer. Allow me to clarify the matter. I was working that day and I said that I was arrested in late 1977, that is October 77, when the rice was about to get ripe. I saw people stealing rice grains at the time, and I did not dare to report it. I was plowing the field at the time. I did not know from when they monitored my activity, and they accused my group of collaborating with the enemy and of betraying Onka. That I saw the enemy stealing the rice grains, and I failed to report that. Question. In the interest of time, I'd like to put the last question to you. Among your family members, can you tell the court how many siblings did you have? Answer. I have 4 siblings. Question. During the Democratic Cambodia regime, did your 4 siblings survive? Answer. They survived, and I only lost my father. Question. You said that you lost 17 family members, including your relatives. Can you tell the chamber, did most of them die from illness or from lack of food or from any other reasons? Answer. Amongst the 17, some died from lack of food, other died from malaria, while others were killed as their stomach was empowered. Thank you, Mr. Civil Party and Mr. President. I conclude my questioning. President, thank you. The floor is now given to the defense team for Kieu Sampon. Kong Samon, thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors and everyone. Good morning, Mr. Civil Party. I have a question to put to you in relation to the location that you were detained after the arrest. You made mention of this fact in your testimony today as well as in your previous written record of interview and your victim information form that you were detained in a security center called Tribunal. Can you tell the chamber the exact location of that security center? Answer. Tribunal Security Center was located in the area that I could not recall the village or commune because it was located in a village, rather in a pagoda. However, I knew that it was situated in Bagan district, Posat province. Question. How did you know that it was called security center? Answer. The area was strictly guarded, and it was the area that I myself was detained. Question. Are you aware that the Tribunal Security Center was part of the facts in the closing order forwarded by the co-investigating judges? President, lead co-lawyer, you have the floor. Mr. President, Councillor Kong Samon put a question to this civil party where the Tribunal Security Center was part of the closing order of the investigating judges. We are in a position that the civil party is not familiar with the content of the closing order or the scopes of the investigation, and this question shall not be put to the civil party. Allow me to respond briefly, as the civil party is a party to the proceedings. For that reason, this question is appropriate. He is the person who claims to be a civil party, and if a civil party is not familiar with the facts he is involved, then it is at your discretion to consider whether it is appropriate or not. President, the objection by the lead co-lawyer is overruled, as the question is permissible, and civil party, you may respond. If you know, you say yes. If you're not, you just say no. Civil party, no, I do not know about that. Question. If I put to you that in the closing order of the co-investigating judges in case 002, there is no mentioning at all of Tribunal Security Center. What is your reaction to this? Answer. People who were nearby also acknowledge the existence of Tribunal Security Center, and other witnesses also acknowledge that, so I don't have any reaction to your statement. Question. My question is not to reject your statement that Tribunal was a security center. What I put to you is that Tribunal Security Center is not part of the scope of case 002, as it is not in the closing order of the co-investigating judges. So I'd like to get your reaction to this statement that your experience is not part of the facts within the closing order, as the Tribunal Security Center is not a part of it. President, that is a complicated legal matter, and if you were to object to this, you should have done it from the beginning of the statement of harm and suffering by this civil party. Civil parties who applied for status in this proceeding and admitted by the OCIJ, they are considered the civil parties. And for that reason, you should put question in relation to general practice of policy on the treatment of the Democratic Cambodia for the Cham people, in particular in relation to this civil party. And that is the fact of the purpose of hearing the statement of harm and suffering, and that has been put by the National Co-Prosecutor as well. This civil party is not obligated to respond to that kind of complex legal question. Thank you, Mr. President. I conclude my questioning now. President, Mr. Marpo, we are informed that you would like to put questions to the accused. If you so wish, at the end of your testimony, you may put question to the accused. However, you cannot put a question directly. You have to put the question through us, the president of the chamber. And if you wish to do so, you have the chance now. Please observe the microphone. Civil Party, Mr. President, I have two questions. I'd like to ask the accused the following questions. 1. Why the accused mistreated the Cham people so terribly? And why did they force the closure of the religious practice? President, thank you, Mr. Marpo. Pursuant to Rule 21(1)(d) of the ECCC internal rules, which states that at all stages of the proceedings, the chamber shall inform the accused of their rights to remain silent in response to any questions. And on 8 January 2015, the two accused confirms their position to remain silent. And at that time, the chamber noticed that the two accused still maintained their express position, unless and until such time the chamber is expressly informed otherwise by the co-accused or their counsels. Also, the chamber informs the accused and their counsel that they shall inform the chamber in a timely and effective manner should the accused resolve to waive their rights to remain silent and be willing to respond to questions by the bench or relevant parties at any stage of the proceedings. As of today, however, the Chamber is not informed that the co-accused have changed their express position and thus agreed to provide their responses to questions. And the Chamber is not in a position to compel the accused to respond when they exercise their rights to remain silent. The law does not allow the Chamber to force the accused to respond to questions. And Mr. Marper, the Chamber is grateful of your testimony, the hearing of your statement of harm and suffering as a civil party that you claim to you suffered under the Democratic Cambodia regime is now concluded. Your testimony may contribute to ascertainment of the truth in this case, and your presence in this courtroom is no longer required, so you can return to your home residence or wherever you wish to go to. The Chamber wishes you all the very best. You may now be excused, and Mr. Lumunhu, the TPL staff, the Chamber would like to thank you for your support given to the civil party during his statement of suffering, of harm and suffering. And Mr. Lumunhu so returned to the courtroom for the statement of suffering of civil party 2TCP 263 this afternoon. Court officer, in collaboration with Visu, please arrange transportation from Bo to return to his place of residence or wherever he wishes to return to. This afternoon, the Chamber will hear a statement of harm and suffering of civil party to TCCP 263. It is now appropriate for our lunch break. The Chamber will take a break now and resume at 1:30 this afternoon to continue our proceedings. Security personnel, you are instructed to take Kyo Sampon to the waiting room downstairs and have him return to attend the proceedings this afternoon before 1:30. The court is now adjourned.